Well, speaking of delay, we were delayed in getting some information from the administration. I mean, we kind of knew because we have eyes and we can see the American people saw it, obviously, throughout his presidency, even before the presidency. But the administration, the former administration officials, have this new line of defense. I was raised, when you say an apology, you don't say but. But they say they did it but because that they were fearful of democracy and Donald Trump. Meanwhile, they did something that was totally undemocratic, which had non-elected officials running the country. So the Obama bros got together, and this is what they said on the podcast. Watch.
We went to the White House and saw Joe Biden, who had just come back from a trip, and he was, I don't think it wasn't as I think, egregious as what you hear in the audio around the Her Report.
This was April of 2024. It was
April, and he was rambling, and he was hard to follow, and he repeated a story. But then we were assured by people around him that he was just exhausted. I remember feeling, I want to talk about this as a huge liability. I want to talk about this as something Joe Biden can overcome. But I'm not going to go so far as to say, I think Joe Biden must drop out. He is too old to be president. A, because I didn't know exactly what was going on behind the scenes. But B, if Joe Biden is the candidate, I want him to win because I care about the country.
So I guess this is kind of helpful in that it reaches new people and exposes the story to new people that maybe we haven't been reaching ourselves. But it is kind of amazing to sit back now and think 4 years. I mean, if you read like this new book out, Original Sin by Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, if you read that book today, for us, it's completely boring. Yeah. It's like you could boil it down to 2 pages, and it's like reading transcripts from everything that we've been talking about for the past 4 years. But you know, and of course, the biggest problem of all is that so many reporters like Jake Tapper and even Alex Thompson to some degree had spent that exact same 4 years trying to stamp out these stories and prevent people from hearing those stories.
So that soundbite was John Lovett. He was a former Obama speechwriter, and he was on with Jon Stewart, and he was basically saying we didn't care if this was the worst candidate ever. We were going to do whatever it took to win. And you mentioned the book. Alex Thompson was on with Shannon Bream over the weekend, and he talked about how they had just this cadre of handlers and aides that were running things behind the scenes, people that weren't even elected. Listen.
In the book, you quote a longtime Biden aide basically admitting he shouldn't be running again. They said to you on page 85, he just had to win, and then he could disappear for 4 years. He'd only have to show proof of life every once in a while. His aides could pick up the slack. Who would have been running the White House in a second Biden term?
Well, this person went on to say that when you're voting for a president, you're voting for the aides around him. But these aides were not even Senate-confirmed aides. These are White House aides. These were unelected people. And one of the things that really, I think, comes out in our reporting here is that if you believe, and I think a lot of these people do sincerely believe that Donald Trump was and is an existential threat to democracy, you can rationalize anything, including sometimes doing undemocratic things, which I think is what this person is talking about.
This is clearly elder abuse. I mean, they literally are saying, we just need, just as long as he's alive, we'll keep propping him up. But I think it's the latter part of the conversation that deserves the investigation, which is the concession that, Ainsley, they knew the entire time, but they didn't want us to know about it. I think that part deserves hearings to figure out all the people in the cabinet that were doing the propping up.
Absolutely, and for someone to tell those authors he'd only have to show proof of life every once in a while. Yeah. This is the President of the United States. Imagine yesterday, Memorial Day. Imagine if you're a Gold Star family and you lost your loved one, your child, let's say, because of Afghanistan, perfect example, under Joe Biden's administration. How upset would you be when the person in charge can't even run the show? People who weren't elected behind the scenes, we don't know them all. We're running the show, running the country.
He's commander-in-chief. That title means something. You're commander-in-chief, and there's only one, and you get elected. That's what it's all about. And after all these years of us getting lectured about democracy, and I think you're exactly right, Lawrence, it's not about Joe Biden. No. It's about everybody that was using him and using and basically overriding our democracy in order to exercise their own power, even though none of them were elected.
I have to be honest, I'm so sorry, Ainsley.
Go ahead.
I was upset with Joe Biden for a while about all of this because I'm like, you know, you should do the right thing for the country. It's clear here. But judging by the book and all the accounts, no one told Joe Biden that he was in decline. Everyone hit it. All the accounts show that not only his family, but all the staffers, and then you put yourself with the elderly people that have been in our lives, that we had to take the keys away. They're all in denial about it, but you make the right decision for them and you say, hey, this is what's going on. We got to do this. We love you. We're going to be with you every step of the way. At no point does it say in the book or any of the accounts that they told the president things are bad now.
Yeah, they had a responsibility to do that, and especially for the American people and for our troops. But I mean, to also know that he wasn't getting PSA tests, they didn't have the blood work.
How amazing is that?
It's incredible. This is the president of the United States.
Incredible.